I saw her
Yeah.
at the bridal shower too, and she was like, "Wait a second, you do radio? Like, you should totally try to help us with this fundraiser." And I'm so grateful that I'm able to give you a little platform for it. So, tell everybody about Hair and Hope and kind of your journey to get there.
Sure. Hair Hope was started after in 2020 I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had two young kids. I have no genetic background. No one in my family has had breast cancer before, and so it was a really big shock. So I was diagnosed. I went through my whole treatment, and the one thing they tell you that I think always stuck out in my mind was the day that they said, that I was going to lose my hair. Um, and it's just shocking along with everything else. It sends you into this spiral. But we were lucky and we found out about cold capping, um, which is a system that you use to save your hair follicles in your hair during chemo. And so I got to do that during my treatment, and it gave me a lot of hope and a lot of things. I could look in the mirror and see myself, when I was going through treatment. And so when I was done with that, I decided me and my husband wanted to give back. And we decided that cold capping was a really good way to keep me focused during treatment. And so we decided to start Hair and Hope. And so what we do is we grant people money to provide them with cold caps during their chemo treatments.
That's wonderful. And so I think when we talked earlier, you had told me that you kept maybe 75% of your hair during this process.
Yeah, I did. I was really lucky. It ranges with capping. Some people's chemo was harder or harsher on their hair. But yes, I was so lucky to keep about 75% of my hair during treatment. Um, and like I said, a lot of people that we've worked with have been able to keep 50% or more of their hair during their treatment.
That's huge. I mean, just that there's an option to be able to keep your hair
Yes.
is
Yes.
huge. So how did
Yes.
you
Because
find out
chemo
about it?
takes away so much of who you are as a person. And so we were really finding with working with all these amazing people who are going through chemo, being able to keep their hair is just being able to keep part of who they are. And, you know, it's just helping with their mental health. Everybody is so focused on their physical health, which you have to be when you're getting treated for cancer. But being able to keep their mental health in a good place is something that it's just something that really is important during this time. So,
Yeah, I mean, from the research I did about it and different people who have experienced it, it keeps that sense of identity. It's something that you can control when this is a process that there's a lot of control that you can have. You just have to go with the process and trust the process, right?
exactly. And I think that's a huge piece of it. The control piece, you literally can't control anything. You listen to your doctors, you listen to the nurses, you take the medicine. So being able to control, you put the cap on, you have to do this process, you know how long it stays on, you are the one shampooing your hair and taking care of it after. Having that, it's kind of like a distraction as well. So you get to have something that you're in control of and also something that distracts you from not feeling well or your next chemo treatment that's coming up. So it was so beneficial to my mental health during my treatment.
And that's a huge part of any health, right? Is to the physical and the mental. That's
Hmm.
a big thing. It's kind of, in tandem with each other. You can't have one without the other.
Totally, for sure. It definitely sometimes is secondary, but really it should be at the forefront, just like the physical health. If our mental health isn't there, then getting out of bed every day is harder, especially when you're already not feeling good from all the medicine that you're on, from the chemo treatments, from the radiation. So it's really, really important during this time to find a way to get that your mental health where it needs to be, and saving my hair. And people who have reflected during the program with us say saving their hair has helped them with that for sure.
I think that's huge. I think we found during COVID, especially that and this happened to you during COVID, right? So this was
Yes, yeah, it
top of
did,
being treated.
unfortunately.
Yeah, right. On top of having that happen to you when everybody, it said family and friends couldn't even visit or come to
Right,
you during this. So that's a very lonely feeling. But to
for
have
sure.
something that like cold capping that makes you feel like you have a little control or that it does distract from like the long process. That's huge. And also,
Yeah,
it doesn't define, it makes it so breast cancer isn't defining you, or that it's not physically showing when you're out with
exactly.
your kids. You don't have to feel like, that people have to feel bad for you or anything like that, right?
Yes, and we have a lot of patient testimony. Some is on our website. We've been posting some on Instagram as well, but one that really sticks out to me is a mom said, "Oh, I can go to my son's football games and nobody's going to know that I'm sick, and I could still go to the grocery store. I could still go out to dinner with my husband." So just those little things that make their lives a little easier during treatment is really what we're all about. Um, and it's those pity looks that you get and people give and they don't mean to, but when people are sick, you just don't have to deal with that. And it's just so helpful to continue to try and live, quote unquote, a normal life when you're going through treatment. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't think, from the people I've talked to about it and saying, "Hey, have you guys heard of this?" Not a lot of people know about this option. Why do you
I
think that
know,
is?
we're really lucky to be in Chicago. We have amazing hospitals and doctors. And I've had people who have gotten the grant that have been at U of C, who have been I was at Illinois Masonic, people at Northwestern. So we're very lucky, but a lot of people from even our state of Illinois, other states around the country, their oncologists are still unsure about this or they've never heard of it before. And so that's the other part that I think that we're trying to spread awareness. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You see a lot of pink. And we just want to make sure we're spreading the right message, right? Like we want to be there for those people who are going through treatment right now. And we want to make sure that they know about all the options that they have during their treatment. And so getting the word out, talking to you is so helpful, and just making sure that if anything, when I leave this conversation with you, or if you go on our website, when you talk to other people about it, just getting word of mouth, making sure more people know about it just as an option, so that it's just there to talk about with these doctors or hospitals that aren't exposed to it, so we can get it more widespread and hopefully more people can feel more confident during their treatment.
Absolutely. What a great cause. We're talking right now to Courtney Carlstrom of Hair and Hope. It's hairandhope.org. It's where you can find out all the information. And, this is a journey that you've been through that I'm sure changed your entire life. It has made you see things differently. It's made
Yes.
the family dynamic, just everything. And your husband actually is part of this as well. He's helped you kind of launch this amazing foundation, right?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. Sean is my husband's name. Like I said, when my treatment was over, first of all, I'm so lucky to have Sean there during my treatment. Some people don't have a support person, and it's hard. Aren't hearing what people are saying to you. They're giving you all this information. And so Sean being there at every step of the way, he could feel what I felt when we felt the gratitude of all of my caretakers, and we really wanted to give back. And so we have 3 kids now. We had 2 kids then. And so it's really been a journey of just figuring out how we can give back. He does a lot of the background stuff that I'm like, okay, go for it, have fun with that. But he takes in all the donations, keeps everything organized. And I couldn't do it without him, really. So it's been a good journey for our family. And our family and close family friends are also all of the volunteers and all of the people on the committees that are getting our donations to us, getting connections like you and me. My mom is a great person. She
Totally.
has done so much to connect me with so many people. So we're very lucky to have a tight knit group of family and friends who, if they weren't helping us, there's no way we could achieve this. So we're really thankful.
That's super great. I mean, you got to have a good solid network of people, and I'm so grateful that you had Sean with you. That's not easy to do, and you're right. There's so much information coming at you and so much happening. Um, this is another way to support people going through what they're going through too, Hair and Hope, because you can apply for grants to get a cold cap, but it's also a place to kind of share in the journey, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the second part, like I always think of the title, Hair and Hope. So the second part, the hope part, is that every single person who gets a grant through us also gets a mentor. And their mentor is someone who's also been through cancer treatment and has done cold capping. And so this part for me, I'm so proud of, because you start a non for profit, you think, okay, it's going to work. This is my vision, my goal. But this part of it, the mentoring part of it, is really something that I put out there in the beginning that I thought, oh, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But 4 of our grant awardees now who have been through treatment, that we mentored, are now mentors to other people. And it's just so powerful to see this full circle moment. They've come through the darkest time of their life and now they feel empowered enough to give back. And it's just awesome. And it's just bizarre because we live in a world of the internet. I have not met some of them at all in person. And we're really excited because our event is coming up, our biggest fundraising event of the year. And some of them are coming. And so I get to actually like give them a hug and see them in person. So I'm so excited about that. So
That's awesome. That's a beautiful feeling. Wow, that's really, really cool. Yeah, so basically I want to talk about the fundraiser. Give us a little idea of where that is and what it is, and we'll go through that again, but then we can get into the meat about how much this stuff costs and insurance and all of
yeah.
that. Tell us about when the fundraiser is.
The fundraiser is on October 19th at Chief O'Neill's in Chicago. It's a fun cocktail party. People get dressed up, people come. We're gonna play some fun games. There's auction items, there's raffle baskets, and it's a really just a good time to connect with people who have been in constant support of our Hair and Hope not-for-profit. And it's a great time. We have a bunch of new people who have never been out before. The first year it was kind of like a big party. People hadn't seen each other because of COVID. This is our 3rd annual one. So now we have some new people who've never been before, and I'm so excited to show them, what we are all about. We have helped over 50 women in these 3 years, but the more people that come to this event and that support us, we can help even more. I hate denying some people when those applications come in. And so this is our big event to try and raise as much as we possibly can. And we have a big, a goal of trying to beat, the year before, just one more dollar, just one more person to
Right,
come. And
right.
so anybody coming or anyone supported we're just so appreciative. So
That's super great. And you can go to hairandhope.org and click on events, and that's where you can buy tickets to support this and also donate there as well. And it looks like you guys got about $20,000 or so raised so far.
yeah, it's pretty remarkable. When we first started, our goal was to raise enough to fund one cap. And so, you said you were going to get into that, but a cap costs about $2,500. And it's amazing to see all of this support for us. I can't believe we already have $20,000 ready to go for these. And it's going directly to cancer patients. I always say, and everyone's always like, oh, whatever, you'll get there. But I always say, no, we're not sitting on this money. We're giving it away. So,
Right, right.
it is going directly to those patients and they're so appreciative of it. So
That's amazing. So $2,500 is a lot of money to wear for this cap. And that's total for the whole treatment, or I'm sure it varies,
yeah, I
but
mean, it ranges. Some people's treatment is shorter or longer depending on their regimen. But yeah, 2,500 is about the average. And I noticed some people they might say, "Oh, $2,500. It doesn't seem like that much," but that's on top of all of the hospital bills. It's on top of all the other things that insurance won't cover when you're going through treatment. I mean, think about at least in the city of Chicago, you go to some hospitals, you have to pay for parking. You have to pay for childcare. You're not going to work full time anymore. So we really focus on that every cancer patient shouldn't have to pay for this, no matter what their background or where they're from. And so we really focus on if they filled out the grant, then we talk about every single person who fills out a form and wants this grant, no matter what their background is. And so, yeah, insurance not covering it is a big discussion. Hopefully one day insurance will cover this without having to hound them and beg them to do so.
yeah, and
Um,
what's their stance on it? Why won't they cover it?
I think that insurance, along with some other people, think that this is vanity, that your hair is just, it can grow back, and they don't see it as part of a mental health crisis along with your physical health crisis that you're going through. Um, if you search, you can find a way to do this where insurance would cover it, but it is work. And so when you're sick and you're trying to get healthy, trying to fill out paperwork and go through hoops and trying to figure out how insurance can cover it is very hard. So
course, of course. I totally feel that. And it's crazy to think what they'll cover and what they won't cover.
Right,
And
right.
sometimes you're just like, well, that makes total sense. Why wouldn't you? And then, so is there a way to kind of like, work with the insurance companies? Do sometimes they will, but it's not easy, right?
Yeah, it's not easy, and I wish I had more information on that, but I don't. We many
Right, of
people have
course.
tried.
Yeah.
I've heard some success stories, and I think when we talked before, I was like, I hope one day that we could just be the middleman, that help to get the paperwork filled out so that people can get this covered by insurance. But right now, it's not, and it's an unfortunate situation. So that's why we're here, to support as many people as we can during their cancer journey, for sure.
Absolutely. That's huge. And like you said, it's a lot of just being a cancer patient is costly. Whether insurance covers some, most, or all, it's a lot of money. So
Yeah.
this
It
is a
takes a
really
lot. I
cool.
mean, and I keep repeating that, but it does. It just takes a lot from you. And it's hard. It's money, it's time, it's energy. Cancer takes a lot away from people. So it's just supporting cancer patients in whatever way possible. If it's not our non for profit, find a cause and like support it, because cancer is relentless and it's horrible. So, we hope you pick our nonprofit. Pick
Totally.
anyone.
Yes. Yes, of course. And we love that it's happening here at Chief O'Neill's on the 19th. That's somewhere local that we can get together with people and, like you said, see the faces of people maybe you've never actually gotten to meet in person, but they're coming to
Yes.
support. That's huge. That's super huge.
And
So
it's also a time where you could ask more questions about capping. There's going to be people there who have went through it and can also say, not just me, but can give their experiences and how it helped them. And it's really powerful to talk to the people who actually went through it. And then maybe some people can understand better how this is helping with mental health during this horrible time in people's lives. So.
absolutely, absolutely. So to talk a little bit more about how it works, can you give us a
Yeah.
little idea, like a little walkthrough of how that goes?
Sure. So there's two different types of capping. There's manual capping and then there's machine capping. And so there's no better or worse. It's just two different things. If hospitals own machines, you go to the hospital during your treatment and they kind of like hook you up to the machine. You put the cap on the same way you'd put on the manual capping. It has to be really snug to your head and it's really cold when it starts. But I kind of describe it as like antifreeze in your car. They pour it into the machine, it comes on, you keep the cap on for a really long time, and it freezes the hair follicles on your head. And the same with manual capping, except you have to switch it out. So you keep it on dry ice and you switch it out every 25 to 30 minutes, making sure that your hair stays so cold. Um, and again, like it gives you something to control during those treatments. So you're like, okay, I know my cap needs to be tight. It needs to be on there. The nurses are amazing. They always are so helpful. And so, yeah, that's like the process of it. And manual capping, people keep it on like in their car when they go home. A machine capper, like I was, has to stay at the hospital longer. But other than that, they're both doing the same job of really trying to freeze those hair follicles. And like I said, some people lose more percentage of hair, but it's about the regrowth. So the follicles are saved. And so when you're done with treatment, your hair is growing back a lot quicker. And so it's another benefit of doing it for sure.
That's really cool. So is the idea with chemotherapy that where it's basically like, does it kill all cells or some
Yeah.
cells?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's killing all of your cells. It's killing all of your good cells and bad cells, essentially. Right. And so
Yeah.
you're poisoning yourself to get yourself healthy. And it's like a crazy concept to think about, that you try not to think about too much because it's a kind of a crazy
Right.
concept. But yes. And so if you aren't doing anything to protect your hair, it definitely will fall out. And for in most cases, I should say, some chemo doesn't have that reaction, which is great. But for most cases, yes. And so yeah, it's just another way to protect your hair.
That's amazing. Yeah. I that's kind of what I thought. I figured it was like, you got to kill everything in order to kill the bad stuff. But how
Exactly.
do we save the stuff that we don't want to kill? And so
Right.
this could open up doors to other things, I would think too, is like maybe this idea could work for other things that we don't want to, hit when we're doing radiation or chemo. So
Hmm. Hmm.
there's a lot to be said about this. And from what I understand, in Europe, they've been doing this for a while, or people are more aware of this.
Yes, for sure. So all of our capping companies that we work with are in Europe. And so it just seems like they invented it essentially there, but also that they are much more open to this. A lot more doctors know about it. It's not something that they heard from a friend of a friend. It's like coming directly from their doctor's mouths. And so I'm just hoping that, again, our nonprofit, there's other nonprofits all over the country that are doing this same thing. I'm hoping that our effort will get it out there to more people, and so that more people will know and understand about capping.
Absolutely. This is great. I'm super, super excited that we were able to have you on and be able to talk about this because why not use these platforms for good and be able to share this good word, like look
Yeah.
good, feel good. We know that term,
Right.
that's what people are going to be able to get from this. And if everything's taken from you, your money, your health, obviously, your mental health, why wouldn't you want to give somebody something that's not that expensive but still a
Right.
burden? Why wouldn't
Right.
you want to do that? So
Right.
you guys are doing great things with Hair and Hope, and
Thank
I'm so
you.
grateful for that. How can someone go to apply for one of these caps? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so on our website, hairandhope.org, if you go on there, there's a patient resource tab. You click on there and it's just a Google form. And so it's about 10 to 12 questions. It's nothing is too long. We know when you're sick and you're filling out paperwork that you don't need to fill out more. You just go on there and it comes directly to our Hair and Hope email, and then we contact you from there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I'm sure even if you can't help every single person, you're still in contact and trying to link them with other people
Yes, and
or
every time
resources.
we can't help somebody, we direct them to another foundation that may be able to help. Like I said, this is only our third year, so we're still building up to be a bigger nonprofit, but there are other ones out there that, have been around for 10 years, for 20 years almost. And so we direct them to people that we know might be able to help, that I could give them the form to fill out quickly, just like they filled out ours. Yeah, and so we try our best to fund as many people as we can. And then if not, we try and guide them. And we also tell them, even though we can't grant you money, if you need a mentor, we are here for you. So as soon as we make contact, we stay in contact with as many of these people as possible, because we know that sometimes they just need someone to talk to that understands what they're going through.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking at the website now, hairandhope.org. There's resources here and other resources, like even like apparel and loungewear designed for people to use during the treatment for breast cancer and other types of cancers. So it seems like this is a very, it's a great way to kind of prop up other independent non-for-profits or other things that are helping with these things that we can't seem to control, like cancer. And so the DignaCap, I think, is one of the ones that you guys have on
Yep.
here information on cold caps and scalp cooling systems from breastcancer.org. So there's resources in the patient resources section, as well as this grant recipient application, which looks super easy. Like you said, it's just a Google Doc. It's not
Yeah, we really
um,
wanted to make it very easy because we understand how much paperwork is being filled out at that time and how much
oh,
just
true.
information is going back and forth. So it's a pretty easy form.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So tell us again where we can go to support you in person, live and in person at your fundraiser.
It'll be October 19th from 7 to 11 at Chief O'Neill's in Chicago. And all the information is on our website at hairandhope.org. And the last thing I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. But also, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but be aware every month and check yourself, be your own advocate. If you don't feel that something's right, go into the doctor, get yourself checked, because that's the only way that they're going to know that you need help and support. So be your own advocate, make sure you're checking yourself. And yeah, thank you so much again.
Of course, of course. Yeah, we have a few more minutes. I mean, just give us an idea of how that went for you. So you felt
Sure.
something and you acted on it, yeah?
Yeah. So at the time, my oldest son was 2 and I had a newborn. He was 6 months old. And so I was nursing my son and I felt the lump, and it's a surreal moment because you're like, no, it's nothing. It's, they told me multiple times, it's probably a clogged duct. It's probably this, it's probably that. And it was during COVID. And so they were really encouraging me not to come into the doctor, not get
Right.
myself sick or my son sick. That was in the beginning when it was still a very scary time for COVID. And then my doctor finally said, no, you have to come in. And like I said, I'm at Illinois Masonic and I had amazing doctors. And my doctor, Dr. Delfinato, she sent me to get the mammogram, which led me to the biopsy, which, led us to the diagnosis. And I mean, it really did save my life. I mean, if I had just ignored it or had gone on for a longer time, I don't know what would have happened. So, keep sending messages to your doctor that something's not right. You're not being annoying, you're not being anything. That's what they're there for. You have to go in and be an advocate. And I think some people think, oh, it'll be fine or it's nothing, but just go check. Who cares if it's fine or nothing, right? That's better than
100%.
just waiting too long. So,
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I think we kind of just all sorts of reasons why we like would feel something and go, it's probably nothing, or I'm too busy, or I'm tired, or
right,
all these reasons. But
right.
I'm glad that you followed that. And was it, I mean, not to get too like physical, but how did it feel? Like, what did it feel like when you
Yeah, mine was it was like it was hard and it was painful, but because I was nursing, a lot of things go into that as well. And so for
Sure.
me, it probably was a little bit of uncomfortableness. Something was in there that wasn't supposed to be. And also, every time I needed to feed the baby, it got more painful. And so, yeah, I think
Yeah,
there's a range, right? Some people don't feel anything at all. Some people all of a sudden feel this a tiny little thing. Mine was a pretty big size. Um, and I only could feel the surface of it. It actually went like backwards. And so yeah, it was a pretty big tumor. But even if you just feel something tiny, just go
go
in.
check it out.
'Cause
Right, and
you
that's
just
what
got to
insurance is
advocate
for.
for yourself and make sure you take care of yourself.
It's true. It's absolutely true. I mean, I've wondered this before. Like, I know there's like PET scans, right? So you can check and see that, but that's after you've been diagnosed or after they think there's something there. Would you think in the future that we might have that as like just a preventative? Like, you're going to get your PET
For
scan every
sure.
5 years or something?
Right. Yeah. And I think people who have cancer in their family history, they definitely are doing that already. But yeah, I always say some of the things I'm like, oh, it's 2024. We should be able to do. I say that all often. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
early detection is what saves lives. And so, as much as we wish the hospitals and doctors would do certain things, I go back to it again. You just got to be your own advocate and you really got to get to the doctor and take care of yourself.
It's really true. It's really true. Well, thank you so much. We really enjoyed this. And I thought about if you have, I know it takes a lot of like nutrition and pulling back and eating right. Do you have any advice for people on that and just how to live your life day to day?
Yeah, I mean, I try my best to eat well, but I think, getting exercise in is important as well. And I just had another baby. So when I say exercise, I mean going for a walk, just being
Just
active and
moving.
making
Yeah.
sure that you're just active in your life and making the healthiest choices for yourself. Again, physical health and mental health. I think stress can play a huge part in our physical health and our mental health, and just making sure that we're taking advantage of anything we can to keep ourselves healthy. So, if that means meeting up with friends to making sure that we're having the social part to keep our mental health going, or going for a walk, or if you are running the marathon next weekend, good luck. Same
Very
thing,
true.
right?
Very true.
So,
Yeah. One more thing I wanted to ask about was what are some of the auction items that you'll be giving away or that
oh,
auction?
there's some really good stuff. We have some of the baskets that I always love. We have a lottery basket with all these lottery tickets.
Oh,
We have
cool.
Bears tickets we're giving away. Oh gosh, we have a How the Moon gift certificate. Um, American Girl doll,
Whoa, these are
a
good
wide
prizes.
range of really fun stuff. We have some condos that have week stays that are in the auction. So I'm really excited for this year. Our volunteers have worked so hard to get these donations. And so they're really really good stuff that are going to be there.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad. Well, October 19th at Chief O'Neill's, that's a Saturday night coming up in just, what, 9 days?
Yeah. Ah,
Gonna get all
it's going to
dressed
be
up
great.
and be kid-free that night, or how's that gonna go?
Yes.
Nice.
And we'll see how it's going to go.
It'll be nice to have a night out with you and Sean and just
Yeah,
be
it
able
really
to
will be.
enjoy that. I'm really excited, and Chief O'Neill's is such a great place, so
It's such a great place, and they've been so supportive of us. They've watched our little nonprofit grow each and every year, and so this year they give us the whole restaurant to use.
oh,
Yeah, and
cool.
so it's going to be a great event, and they have great food and great drinks. So I'm really excited. I hope that more people can come out and make it to the event.
Absolutely. I think they will. Well, we'll definitely share it on our socials and make sure we just kind of keep this in, top of mind when we talk to people who are going through this. And one question too, is it just breast cancer that we can use the cold caps for, or is there other cancers?
No, other cancers as well. There are some restrictions, and that's the medical side that, I try to veer away from, but most cancers can cap. And that's a really important conversation to have with your oncologist right away so that and then you can make the contact with us so we can help you.
Awesome, because you do need to do this before you start treatment, right? The capping has to
Correct. Yes. We only grant to people who have not started their treatment yet.
and that's just so it doesn't get in the way or you just don't know yet. Um,
Right. And that's our stance on it. So if
sure.
you start and there's already chemo, the success rate goes down. And so we want to set up people for success and start them before they start their treatment.
That makes total sense. Well, thank you so much. This has been so, so liberating to hear, and I'm grateful that we could get you on the show today and get this out
Thank
to people.
you.
You're
Thank you. Thank
welcome.
you. It's been so great and I really appreciate your time.
Of course. Thank you so much, Courtney. You keep up the good work, and thanks so much for bringing this to Chicago. And we'll see you at Chief O'Neill's on the
Yeah,
19th.
we'll see you then. Thank you so much. Have a good
Thanks.
one.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. It's WZRD Chicago.